Okay, I just found something weird, and I need to walk through it with someone. It's this Delaware corporate filing that's making me rethink everything about this Warner Brothers Discovery Netflix deal. And I'll let you be the judge, but I feel like by the end of this, you're either going to think that I'm onto something, or you're going to tell me that I need more sleep. Or you know what? Both can be true. Actually, both are probably true. It's probably that one. Also, all of my sources and the government documents that I found on this are over on my Substack, thetrade.ca, where I'm going to be tracking this merger very, very closely over there. So if you're into this, you should go subscribe. The link's in my bio. It's free. So we all know that Netflix won the bidding war for Warner Brothers Discovery. The Ellisons of Paramount Pictures lost. Sad trombone, moving on. Except for this one little thing that was making it hard for me to move on. On December 4th, the day before Netflix was announced officially as the winner, I got this Google alert that said that Larry Ellison had regained his throne as the second richest person in the world, surpassing Larry Page. Oh, what? You mean to tell me you don't have Google alerts set up for Larry Ellison? Well, maybe you should. And look, anytime Larry Ellison makes a lot of money, I'm suspicious, but that timing in particular felt weird for me because his net worth went up, $5.2 billion in a single day, and he jumps to the second richest person in the world, and then the next day, his family loses this Warner Brothers bid. Mind you, to Netflix, whose bid was already lower than theirs. So I started digging, and that stock bump apparently came from Deutsche Bank on December 1st, which basically a big bank tells all of the investors that Oracle's a buy, and then the stock goes up, and then Ellison's net worth goes up incredibly because almost all of his wealth is in Oracle stock. But here's what doesn't quite add up. Oracle has been sluggish for months, which is why Larry Ellison dropped from the second richest person position. There have been no earnings surprises that week, no major contracts announced, nothing that should make a bank suddenly declare that Oracle is the buy of the century. Yet Deutsche Bank decided to make that call, and they decided to make it on December 1st, the exact day that the final bids were due for the Warner Brothers Discovery auction. So a December 1st upgrade for Oracle would land on Ellison's net worth by around December 4th. Right on time. Well, not right on time if it was meant to help with the Warner Brothers Discovery bid, because that was already submitted the day that that stock upgrade happened. So what would that boost help? Well, that's where this Delaware filing comes into play, okay? Because I've been tracking Larry Ellison for quite some time now, right? And I watched the Paramount Skydance merger very, very closely last year. And yes, I even made a spreadsheet of all of their special purpose vehicles. Don't judge me. When the Ellisons bought Paramount Pictures, they used a lot of different special purpose vehicle holding companies, but three main ones, which were all filed on the same day, which were called Pinnacle Media Ventures 1, 2, and 3, filed on June 28th, 2024. And then 9 days later, the deal was announced. And the reason they need all three companies is because they're buying a really big company, Paramount Pictures. They need all of these different investor buckets in order to compensate for all of it. So I was thinking to myself, well, if I want to find out if they're trying to actually buy Warner Brothers Discovery, then maybe they would file paperwork in the same structure, right? I mean, same pattern, maybe same naming convention. If you want to understand truly how these billionaires move, you don't listen to what they say, you watch what they file. So I go to the Delaware database and I type in Pinnacle Media Ventures LLC. Hit enter, and what do you know? There it is, Pinnacle Media Ventures 4, and you'll never guess when it was filed for. That's right, December 1st, 2025. Same day as the bid deadline, same day as the Oracle upgrade. But notably, they only filed one, not three. They didn't file 4, 5, and 6, just a single holding company. There's this contradiction happening here because filing an acquisition vehicle means that you're confident you're about to buy something, like soon. But pumping your stock price on the same day only makes sense if you think you're about to lose and you want to look strong on the same day that you lose. Or maybe you need that boost to finance a purchase, a different purchase, the real purchase. But that brings us back to this Pinnacle Media Ventures 4 that was filed, because if this was like the pattern in which they bought Paramount Pictures, then wouldn't they need multiple Pinnacle Media Ventures if they were going to buy Warner Brothers Discovery and all of its parts? Maybe your plan is to only buy one piece of Warner Brothers Discovery. Which brings me to what Netflix is not buying. Netflix is not buying the cable networks. The deal requires Warner Brothers Discovery to spin off CNN, TNT, TBS, and all of the Discovery networks into a separate company called Discovery Global. And it will become its own publicly traded company available for someone else to buy. Which, to be fair, that was always kind of the plan. So why not wait for that to happen in April of 2026 like it was supposed to? Why would the Ellisons want to force Warner Brothers Discovery into an early sale? Because remember, they were giving all of these unsolicited bids for the whole company starting back in September, only to be turned down again and again and again, and then to lose again finally in December. I think losing was the point. What if their only goal was to force this spinoff to happen before April of 2026 so that they could buy the one piece that they wanted, CNN, before the primaries? 2026 is a huge election year. Like, this is not your normal midterms. These elections are going to determine whether or not there is any check on Trump's power for the next 3 years. We're talking elections for every House seat, a third of the Senate, dozens of governor races that are going to be controlling this redistricting for the next decade. And these primaries decide all of that. And the earliest primary starts March 3rd, which is Texas, Arkansas, and the North Carolina vote. And if you wait until Q3 to buy CNN, then by the time you get in there, restructure everything, clean house, then the media has probably already made the narratives and decisions for who's a joke, whose stories get oxygen, and who's gonna win. The media is the key to the kingmaking. Remember that. So if you buy CNN after the primaries, then you own a cable news network. But if you buy it in January or February before the primaries, you own the narrative. And now the Ellisons are threatening this hostile bid, supposedly furious about losing. But that one Pinnacle Media Venture company being filed on December 1st, I think tells a different story. They don't want all of Warner Brothers. This hostile bid, I think, is just leverage to force Discovery Global to spin off earlier. Move that Q3 timeline to Q1 and get CNN before the primaries. And everybody's focused on Netflix taking over Hollywood, and everyone thinks that Larry Ellison lost. But I don't think he's lost anything. I think he's right on schedule.